Yes.
No, the day actually starts at like 6:30 in the morning because I get the emails from like New York City, and then we're constantly texting and emailing each other like all the time.
Day long.
It's like, what about this idea? What about this idea? And it's just business ideas, creative ideas. It's like nonstop. And I'll thank my wife publicly because she's put up with it, and he's smiling now. First time in 2 weeks. And I just want to tell you that we are on a crusade. So
I would totally write like all the books that you don't want to write. Characters you don't want to write. I'll make them awesome.
Right? All right. Good luck on Iron Man.
Hi, I had my neighbor borrow my Legion of Three Worlds, and then I was stuck in the unenviable position of having to try to explain 50 years of backstory.
That's the fun part of those books. And by the way, could you explain it to us?
Okay, I don't have my mother's old issues of inner life with me. Okay. But I went looking, and the one big legacy group from the DCU that I cannot find any substantive recaps for is the Legion. Am I just being blind and have really crappy retailers, or what?
There are no crappy retailers, first of all. And there really are. They're dedicated to the cause. No, what we're doing right now is with Paul Levitt's returning to Legion of Superheroes. What we're going to do, we're excited about that because honestly, Paul's series, when he was on that book, was probably one of the best received books of its time. It was one of the best-selling books from DC of its time. And him coming back and taking that on is really important for all of us. And we're figuring with this, we're hoping it helps solidify that and also get into some of the backstory, which he's going to be addressing on in Adventure Comics as well. So you're going to get some of that, seeing that stuff coming together again. I think we have the version that we're locked in and we're ready to go ahead with, so we'll be able to give you some backstory to explain it. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Next up.
Hey, since I got all the big wigs in one room, got kind of a question regarding like the digital initiatives that Jim referred to earlier. And it seems like whether we like it or not, we're on the cusp of like a paradigm shift regarding digital distribution and kind of the way comics are delivered to us. And I'm just kind of curious about your take on the digital initiatives and how that might possibly cannibalize the print business, and just kind of moving forward, how that kind of works into the DC model.
That's a huge question. I think it's a great question. Get serious here for a second. I think at the end of the day, I don't know how many of you guys download comics, BitTorrent comics or whatever. I have not seen anything on the digital side that is more compelling to me than a printed comic. And I'll use Black as Night as an example. You open that up and I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a spread in there that's just amazing. And you cannot replicate that on a device that's big. And I think there's some things that are very amazing about these like Slate type devices. The portability of comics, having your entire collection in your pocket, being able to instantly get a comic and then go like, I love this, I'm going to find another comic by this creator, and just keep like kind of following the whole chain of the entire work of one creator or one author. And that's great, but there's awesome things about print comics. They don't break if you drop it to the floor. You can read it on a plane while you're taking off. So all these awesome things. And I think that at the end of the day, we have to have sort of two different kind of products and have to really play to each of their strengths. And that's part of like why we're not out there right away. There's no real business model for it, in that it's not a huge part of anyone's business, right? Regardless of whether you're on the iPad tomorrow or not. Anyway, so I think at the end of the day, we have to come up with some really compelling content that plays to the advantage of the digital distribution. And then once we have something like that, I think that's when things will really start to shift. And I think that'll be exciting as a creator because you have all these different tools and new ways of telling stories. But at the end of the day, I don't know if it necessarily cannibalizes, because I think they are very distinct. And I don't know how many of you guys collect comics for, not investment value, but just to kind of have something. I would hate for everything to be digitized in my life,
So we should presume essentially that you guys are holding out until there's a compelling digital format, or?
No, we're talking to a bunch of different vendors, software companies about being out there. So we're going to be out on the iPad, and we're going to be out there in a meaningful way this year. It's coming out with something other than, hey, here are some scanned comics, because frankly, you can find that stuff already. So
For sure.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Dan. Next one.
Well, I personally am enjoying, it's just a comment, I'm personally enjoying the more, unknown superheroes taking a big step forward from like Dove and...
Shut up, Dove. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, wait.
I read
But he likes the girl Dove, that's okay.
I read the Blackest Night question. I was really enjoying that as well. Are you going to actually take a more bigger role for these unknown characters?
Well, yeah, I mean, I love working with characters that aren't necessarily A-list and trying to make them A-list, so, yeah.
Yeah.
no, I mean, look at X-Men, for example. I mean, they were like second-rate, third-rate Marvel characters until someone took them over and made them special. So
Yeah. I mean, and that was the purpose behind 52 too.
no, I'm talking about you. I'm not that evil maniacal. Come on. I'm talking about like Neil Adams and.
Excellent. Great, thank you, Dan. Next one.
Nightwing. Any plans for Nightwing?
Yeah, he's Batman.
Anything in film, anything in animation?
Oh, I thought you were asking me to kill him.
Yes.
Thank you. That's a good enough answer, man.
Hello, I was a little disappointed to find out that there were no Vertigo panels this year, so I just wanted to know if you had any exciting news about your company's bastard child at all.
I have so many things I could say right now. There isn't a Vertigo panel. We just did. There's no. Guys, is there a Vertigo panel here at all? No, okay. We didn't know about that. But the good part is, there's still plenty of Vertigo comics. Okay? And I mean that in the nicest way. We got 2 great books coming out from Vertigo right now. With American Vampire, written by Scott Snyder and Stephen King. Maybe you heard of Scott Snyder. Which is something that's just started, and it's really starting to really get some real traction for the Vertigo line. We also have Grant Morrison's Joe the Barbarian, which I'm loving, not only just in regards to Grant's writing, but also Sean Murphy's artwork on it. It's really a really wonderful series too. The great part about it is that Vertigo line continues to be experimental. Vertigo line continues to try to push boundaries, but it's also trying to attract a new and different audience. And I think with Grant's book and with the Scott Snyder, Stephen King, American Vampire, we're going to see that growing in business again. But Vertigo's here to stay with DC Comics for sure. Okay?
Since you brought up Grant Morrison, and it used to be that Invisibles and Prometheus and Sandman were basically mandatory reading to raise your consciousness if you were in college 10 years ago.
Now it's Blackest Night.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of took a break until my brother told me Jeff Johnson.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know. So, can you tell me what you're doing to make comic books mandatory again, and to like, tap into that part? Thank you.
Okay.
I just try to write the best stories I can. I mean, the fact that I see Orange Lantern shirts is ridiculous, or a Dove costume. I mean, really? He did it. So for me personally, I just try and write the best stories I can write. Try and expand the mythology the best way I can. And see if it connects with people.
And the books that you mentioned, they weren't created to be mandatory, they become mandatory. And what Jeff has said is the fact that all we're going to try to do is make the best books possible, and hopefully the fans themselves will judge whether or not these are things worth passing on to other fans and new fans and soon-to-be new fans, okay?
How will technical be factoring in with DC Universe in the next 2 years with it, 2012? Will we be inhaling comics? Technical. Invisibles.
Oh, no, we're keeping Grant really busy with Batman right now, so we're not probably heading back to Digital way